This is a re-upload of a video that I made several years ago. It was taken down. I put in a blur later in the video to try to avoid it being taken down again.
In the 12 years since the release of the Beyblade Metal series anime, there hasn't been a character from that show people have admired more than that of Ryuga. There are a multitude of reasons for this, whether it be his absurdly overpowered Beyblade El Drago, his character arc, or just his overall aesthetic and quotable lines.
You're not even a threat! Go and get a better bay from your daddy, why don't you?
I knew this to be true on my own, but in the previous video I did on this topic, it really seemed to resonate with people, becoming the most popular video on a channel dedicated to Pokemon Wi-Fi battles by over tenfold. In that video, I attempted to resolve a plot hole for why El Drago was unable to absorb the power of the star fragment from Nemesis completely, despite it being that El Drago's primary function was to absorb the power from other Beyblades. However, after reading through the hundreds of comments, I could tell that there was much more that I needed to parse through when it comes to Ryuga's backstory and character. As I began to write the script for this video, I realized that much of what makes Ryuga's story so interesting is all of the people within his sphere of influence, whether it be you and Tsubasa, Kenta and Gingka, and of course Doji, Dr. Ziggurat, and Rago. So over the course of the next 3 videos, I'm going to attempt to build the complete picture of Ryuga's life, and hopefully settle any remaining questions people have about both Ryuga and El Drago. The earliest footage of Ryuga in the anime takes place in episode 14 of Metal Fusion, when Ryuga and Doji go to Coma Village to steal the Forbidden Bay, lightning El Drago. We also know, based on Dr. Ziggurat's statements in Metal Masters, that he was the one responsible for sending Ryuga and Doji to Coma Village after receiving the information about its existence.
Not so long ago, after learning about the Forbidden Bay El Drago, we used the Dark Nebula organization to send you to Coma Village.
What was that?
Doji's first interactions with Ryuga are not present in the anime, but we do know from the manga that Ryuga is a part of the Dragon Clan, a group of powerful bladers who specialize in dragon-type Beyblades, and was likely sought out by Doji as the only person on Earth who had a chance of controlling El Drago. The only other hint to the Dragon Clan we get in the anime is with Ryuto in Metal Fury, who also uses a dragon-type Beyblade capable of changing modes similar to Ryuga. Although their relationship is never stated in the anime, it seems that Ryuto is in fact Ryuga's brother in the Dragon Clan. Whether Ryuga knew about the history of El Drago or was simply tempted by the thought of possessing that power, Doji managed to take him to Coma Village to steal the Forbidden Bay and make use of its destructive power. Ryo and Gingka saw them and ran after them. However, Ryo was no match for Ryuga, who after winning his match and making his getaway, collapsed from El Drago absorbing his energy, putting him in a coma for months. This required Doji to put him on life support at his headquarters, funded of course by Hades Inc. It is likely that by this point, Ziggurat had already started to work on the arrangement system and was planning on using it to help Ryuga reach his full potential with El Drago. Based on what we know about Doji being a bit of a control freak and Ziggurat's disdain towards him,
Don't put me together with that Doji who became overwhelmed by the dark power and lost sight of the true goal.
we can infer that Doji refused this. Doji likely had a difficult time searching for Ryuga, just as he will do with Rago later on, and in order to prove that Ryuga was truly worth all the effort, he pushed for an alternative to reviving Nemesis, the story of Pegasus and El Drago. From what Ryo discussed in The Truth About Light and Darkness, we know that the meteorites for Pegasus and El Drago landed far away from each other, but within the same general time frame. El Drago had been well established as the new Dark Beyblade, overtaking Nemesis' place as the dominating force in warfare and destruction after it was sealed away. The people of Coma Village had likely heard about these stories of legendary bladers, who used bays with the power of an entire star fragment in order to defeat Nemesis, and would attempt to do the same when creating Pegasus. After creating many prototypes, including Galaxy Pegasus, which turned out to be too powerful to be controlled, they settled on Storm Pegasus, and this Beyblade, along with either the power of Gaia or thousands of Blader spirits, barely managed to seal El Drago in crystal. Knowing that Pegasus contained the power of a complete star fragment, and that Ginga had a grudge against them for killing his father, allegedly, Doji would seek Ginga out in order to give Ryuga enough power to awaken. He would have to be certain that he was ready, however, as when Doji first saw Ginga, he was a frightened boy.
Ginga, why do you think I keep targeting you? It is because you will eventually bring out the ultimate power within Pegasus. This gives you the potential to become the biggest threat El Drago has ever faced. You will be a force to be reckoned with. I believe that you already have that capability, my friend.
What do you want from me?
And at the time, Doji is likely still under orders from Ziggurat to gather information on both El Drago and Pegasus. Much like a kid who is only trying to pretend to do their chores, Doji does his best to take out two birds with one stone. After receiving intel about the close battle between Kyoya and Ginga, Doji trains Kyoya under the same regiment as HD Academy in the US, apart from the arrangement system, and gives Benkei a much more powerful Bey in order to further draw out Pegasus' abilities and grow from them having intense battles. In addition, Doji orders Merci to trick Ginga into performing a Beyblade examination for his skills retrieving data to keep his boss Ziggurat happy, and to use for his own purposes. After obtaining more data from the second battle with Ginga and Kyoya, Doji banks on Ginga being lured out to his hideout, and Kyoya guiding him to it.
Oh, no. I have no interest in battling you at the moment.
You running away?
Hardly, my ginger-headed friend. I'm ready to accept your challenge any time. At our Dark Nebula facilities, Ginga, we would be happy to welcome you with our finest hospitality. Unfortunately, it appears that Kyoya's training was less than adequate.
What, Doji? After all I've been through?
But his loss is our gain. We were able to collect valuable data.
And after making it through Doji's traps meant to funnel Ginga alone to Doji's dining room, paid for by Hades Inc., of course, he offers Ginga a position in the Dark Nebula and challenges him to a battle.
Join forces with me, Ginga.
You must be joking!
All you have to do is agree, and this ridiculous fight can end here. I will be able to turn you into an even greater blader than you can imagine.
But even Doji's meticulous planning would not prepare him for what happened next. During Doji and Ginga's battle, the star fragment within Ginga's Pegasus and his intense negative emotions toward Doji for taking his father away from him, allegedly, began to be absorbed by Ryuga due to their close proximity, very similarly to how prototype Nemesis absorbed the power of the legendary Beyblades. After several minutes, El Drago finally received enough negative energy to stop feeding off Ryuga and brought him out of his coma. Ryuga presents himself to Ginga, and Ginga's intense anger from the sight of Ryuga alone is enough to feed El Drago more negative energy. During their fight, Ginga and his friends slowly begin to understand just how absurdly broken El Drago truly is, as it is able to spin steal Pegasus' rotation speed and sap its power along with Ginga's negative energy with the help of Ryuga's taunting.
Ginga attempted to use El Drago's power to increase the power of Pegasus, but the opposite happened. Every time Pegasus did battle with El Drago, it actually lost some of its own power. How unfortunate.
Doji! That just stinks! The more you fight, the more power you give your opponent!
What do we do now?
There is absolutely nothing any of you can do. No Bey can ever win against Lightning El Drago.
Not then, not now! And not from here on in. And that's just the way it is! You got it, capiche? What's wrong? Have you given up since you know you can never win? So are we done here then?
As Merci states, this doesn't just revitalize Ryuga, it's somehow able to make him about 20% stronger than he initially was, which in Pokemon is roughly the power of a Black Glasses Bisharp, all just from one battle. Ryuga handily defeats Gingka and showcases a dark move, Dragon Emperor Soaring Bite Strike. It is unclear as to how Ryuga knew this after being in a coma for months and battling for the first time, but for my personal theory, I believe that Ryuga was actually attuning himself to El Drago while he was in his catatonic state, performing his own arrangement as Lightning El Drago and his energy became one. It is possible that at this point, Ryuga knows all about El Drago's previous experiences, and has complete control over El Drago's ability to change modes and do battle as soon as he wakes up.
It seems that the one who helped Ryuga fully recover was you yourself. Once again, irony plays a hand in our game.
As Ryuga is walking away with Doji, he tells him the time has come to prepare for Battle Bladers. This shows some forethought went into planning between Ryuga and Doji, as Battle Bladers was never a part of the plan for Dr. Ziggurat. He only wanted data on Pegasus and El Drago. After Ryuga recovers, Doji immediately puts him to the test, battling the Dark Nebula 4 Elite Squad Bladers, trained in each of the 4 types of battling techniques as he's upgraded his palate from pizza to pork chops, likely from a recent pay bonus from Hades Inc. for his good work. Ryuga easily defeats all of them, knocking them unconscious, but he still remains unsatisfied. Doji moves along with the next phase of their plan and takes Ryuga out to the desert to meet Yu, who, after battling with Ryuga and losing to him, immediately starts fanboying over how strong he is. Doji then brings Yu back with him and starts giving him the task of entering the survival battle tournament, and wing it to ask for the WBBA to host the Battle Bladers tournament. Yu acts as the perfect Trojan horse, as he is just a kid with an unsuspecting stamina type bay, but because of his immense power and intellect, he manages to not only make it to the final battle, but defeat Kyoya and Gingka, winning the tournament. After asking the WBBA for Battle Bladers using his wish, everyone is excited at the thought of a national tournament to decide who is the #1 blader in the country. That is until Doji shows up and reveals that the tournament will be sponsored by the Dark Nebula. Madoka and the others question the efficacy of this and ponder why Doji wouldn't just do that himself.
But why, Doji? Why did you use him to do this? I just don't get it.
If you wanted to have a competition, why didn't you just hold it yourself?
Come on, Doji! You're always up to something!
Why, I'm very offended, my dear friends. I'm not up to anything. I've come here because I wanted to make everyone's wish come true. By holding the best tournament in history to decide the strongest, most skilled blader, no strings attached.
But in order to have a nationwide competition, we need the highly respected WBBA behind us.
Exactly, you. As a recognized WBBA event, we are sure that powerful bladers who are yet unknown will appear to participate. Bladers with extraordinary skills. Excellent bladers like our own little champ Yu here.
Ryuga also makes an appearance, and Gingka challenges him to a battle, but at this point, El Drago is easily able to dispatch of him, and sends everyone flying in the process. He then boards a helicopter, and we get to see a conversation between Yu and Doji.
I want to wait 3 months.
For the average blader, earning the 50,000 points needed to qualify for Battle Bladers will be nearly impossible. So they'll practice and practice endlessly and battle fiercely and eventually increase their bay points.
Aha! Even though in the end they'll all be taken down by Ryuga's El Drago, right, Doji?
Yes, that is our plan. That is our true goal.
Doji then states that El Drago will be the strongest bay in the country, but only implies the true goal of destroying the world, showing a fantasy sequence of Ryuga being consumed by the dark energy and consuming the world. Following the start of the training for Battle Bladers, we see that Ryuga is training with El Drago, but not necessarily for just winning battles, but for destroying the world, Nemesis style, as it practices wrecking boulders and whipping them up into a storm in a volcano, showing that Ryuga actually does need to put in some work preparing for his own apocalypse plan. About a month before Battle Bladers is set to begin, we see that Ryuga has gone through the legwork of amassing points to give more credence to the rigged competition, and strike fear into his opponents. He uses a helicopter to quickly fly to multiple tournaments and rack up points quickly, winning a 100 Bay tournament against Benkei and winning against Rudero and Tobio, who he recruits to the Dark Nebula to eventually be used as fuel later. Meanwhile, Tsubasa, who infiltrated the Dark Nebula undercover as a WBB agent, uses this time to sneak around the headquarters and find data on El Drago, but only manages to find the basic information that everyone knows, along with his battle with Gingka, which he learns a little bit more about the dark power that El Drago uses to absorb its opponent's strength. Any data on Hades Inc., Reggie, the Arrangement System, Nemesis, Dr. Ziggurat, Pluto is either heavily encrypted or stored on a separate computer, which Doji likely did as soon as Tsubasa joined due to his suspicions, or just in general, wanting to keep things top secret. After getting everything that he can onto his flash drive, Tsubasa heads up to the top of the Dark Nebula Tower, waiting for his eagle to come pick up the flash drive, as he on his own will not be able to make it down all the way through the tower without getting caught by security, so he wants to ensure that the flash drive gets taken care of. Unfortunately, Yu actually comes in with Doji to step in and stop him from escaping.
I purposely allowed Mercy's maintenance to begin, so you would feel safe and reveal your plans. What's your game? Poking around for information about El Drago? What are you up to anyway?
If I've been caught, then there's not much to say, is there? You are the one that should be answering the questions. What are you going to do with all that power?
That, my nosy friend, is really none of your business.
If you're going to use a Bay for evil purposes, it is my business. And I will defeat El Drago.
Defeat El Drago, you say? Ha! I was wondering what you would say, but that is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, you and what army? There's no way Ryuga would lose to someone like you. But I'll be your opponent. How's that grab ya? But before that, why don't we just have a little bit of fun, okay?
Ryuga clearly have had a very bad influence on Yu here, as he does not act like this at all later on in the series. But either way, they send up the Dark Nebula Elite Squad of Bladers, but as you will see, they are absolutely no problemo for him, as Tsubasa is easily able to dispose of them. But of course, Ryuga is the main protagonist of this video, so we can't go too long without seeing him. So he's woken up, and he shows up because he's like, yo, what is going on here? Y'all are disturbing my sleep. So Doji and Yu are ready to go to take him out, but Tsubasa is actually challenged by Ryuga. He's had enough of this, and he's going to put a stop to this himself. And they're like, yo, this dude is actually not that much of a deal.
You should not bother with such trivial matters, my friend.
Yeah, Ryuga. Leave it to me to take care of this with my Libra.
No, this guy is all mine.
Huh? Wow, he's so cool.
Hey, you, do you really want to know about El Drago that much? Then how about I show you? That works perfectly for me. I will crush El Drago along with your ambitions right here, right now.
So at this point in the series, we're really getting to see Tsubasa put his money where his mouth is, because he's fought both against Gingka and Yu, and supposedly not used his full strength up to this point. So we really get to see how strong he is. But of course, he's going up against the main antagonist of the series, El Drago, so it's not going to end too great for him. So Tsubasa uses a special move trying to pin down El Drago, thinking, oh, well, if I attack from above, he's not going to be able to spin steal my rotation, so it's all good, right? Little does he know that the dark power, don't worry about that. As long as they're making contact, it will still be able to absorb his power, and Tsubasa's like, yo, what type of mystical dark power is this? To realizing he's screwed getting his power absorbed, Tsubasa has Eagle get off of El Drago and try to regroup, make a couple of counterattacks, but ultimately it's not going to do anything for him, as El Drago can just use its dark move, Dragon Emperor, Soaring Bite Strike, and take care of old Tsubasa, no problemo. That is until a little Deus Ex Machina shows up, with Phoenix putting a stop to it, interluding the battle, really pissing off Ryuga and carrying Tsubasa away to be saved. Both Ryuga and Doji are pretty angry about Tsubasa being able to escape with Phoenix, as they both know that he could at this point potentially take incriminating data back to the WBBA and potentially rat them out. But Yu's like, nah, don't worry, we're good. We got some new bladers. We're gonna be all good for battle bladers, so don't even worry about it.
No, we're doing okay. Our numbers have already increased, Doji.
Increased, you say? When did this happen?
So I'm not going to worry about it either. So let's go ahead and move on to the real juicy plot of the story, Battle Bladers. With the 3-month qualifying time for Battle Bladers ending, and Gingka just squeaking by to get in after defeating Phoenix and gaining back his points, the Battle Bladers tournament begins. Doji puts up the initial pairings for the tournament, which are completely rigged to be all Dark Nebula Bladers versus non-Dark Nebula Bladers. This creates the optimal situation, as the Dark Nebula Bladers will all likely be wiped out, and then can be quietly stowed away after Ryuga absorbs their energy. First round match for Ryuga and Battle Bladers is a pretty quick one. He's going up against Hikaru, and instantly he already seems to have some dark power presence going on, as he's able to easily summon lightning and pretty much terrify Hikaru to her core. She's wondering how she could even have thought that she could have defeated this man for even a second. I mean, look at this guy. The dude's hunched over. Like, what is going on with this man? She can barely take her Beyblade out to battle, but as soon as he takes his out and has his ready to go, she returns with her confidence, and she's going to at least try her best. If she's going to go down, she's going to go down and fight. And everyone in the stadium is pretty like, I don't know, this might not end too well. So they go up, and one hit, he's already been able to blow her back.
As a little reward for not running away at the sight of me, I'm gonna finish you with my dark move.
Well, this obviously doesn't seem like a reward. It is, if you think about it, it's like trying to give someone a quick and painless death. You know, this same thing actually will come back in Metal Fury, as we'll see with Ryuga. You know, it's like poetry, it rhymes, you know? So, he's able to use his dark move and easily dispatch Hikaru, absorb her energy. It's a quick and painless one. While Doji is reviewing all of the Dark Nebula Bladers that lost in Battle Bladers, thinking about, well, it's time for them all to be sacrificed. Just as Yu, who also lost to Gingka, comes into the room.
What is it that you want?
Oh, nothing much. I was looking for someone to battle with, but I can't find anyone around here. This place is totally deserted.
I still think you need us to teach you something worthwhile about Beyblade.
What do you mean, us?
At this point, this is another huge step in the way of Dark Nebula's ultimate plans, as they are now beginning to sacrifice all of the Bladers that they'd been training and strengthening. You know, these guys had to all get 50,000 Bay points too, so they've had to increase their strength a lot. Now all their power is being completely absorbed. He's straight up destroying their bays into pieces. He is getting every drop of energy that they have, putting them all into comas. They're all gonna get stuffed away. El Drago, it's increasing his power a good bit. Though he says it's not nearly that much.
What's going on here? I don't get it.
It is the fate of those who've been defeated.
Those guys don't look good.
Why?
Why what?
We pledged our loyalty to the Dark Nebula organization. So why do you treat us so badly? What is this?
Naturally, we have to make those who lose at Battle Bladers of some use to Ryuga. Surely you didn't expect to fail and then just sit around here reading comic books?
The losers become food for the dragon.
Did you say food?
Real nice, treating our bays like food after we lose just once? You're a class act, pal.
Is it making you angry?
What did you say?
Are you really, really mad? If you are, then show me that attitude now! Yes, all of it! That negative spirit! The power of your anger is exactly what El Drago desires!
Even the Dark Nebula Bladers, he's trying to get as much anger and negative energy off of them as he can, you know? I mean, they're basically giving him scraps as it is compared to Pegasus, so he's got to milk them for all that they're worth. With every battle El Drago wins, he continues to become stronger and stronger, completely draining away all the power from their bays. I mean, they don't have any color left. He's taken all their base spirit, their soul, everything is being absorbed into El Drago.
That didn't even begin to curb my hunger!
That was awful.
Rutaro!
Yeah.
You were lucky to have survived the first round, but how will you fare after the results of the second round? If you do not want to end up like them, then you better keep winning.
Don't give me that nonsense. Even if I keep winning, eventually I will have to face Ryuga. Isn't that right, Doji? What have you got in store for me when that time comes?
When that time comes, I wonder. Oh, yes.
You phony! You were planning to use our power for food from the very start!
But not me, right? Not me! It's not true! Ryuga wouldn't! Ryuga would never betray me! Never! It doesn't make any sense! Ryuga's my friend, see? He's my best friend!
Oh, I don't think that's the case at all. It's unfortunate, but beneath a king, all others are the same. None of them matter. And I'm afraid the same goes for you. You're absolutely no different.
But before that, I need your help. You don't mind helping me with my warm-up, do you, little buddy?
Here, I think that Reggie might be actually warming up for his battle with Kenta because he knows that he's going to go up against another stamina-type Bey, and he really wants to prepare for that battle because his whole goal is to mess with Jinga's head at the end of the day. But Yu is being tortured by this. He can't stand the thought of his Libra being destroyed, and so he looks over to his good friend, or at least who he thought was his good friend, Ryuga, standing over in the stands watching over him. It's like, bro, listen, help me out here. I mean, I looked up to you. I thought the world of you. But at the end of the day, Ryuga thought him of as nothing as food, and Yu begins to realize that.
This isn't any fun at all! I've had enough of this! This stinks! This isn't the Beyblade that Gingka taught me about!
Let's battle again sometime!
Continuing with the symbology of light and darkness, Yu manages to find his own light in the darkness and seeks redemption, and ultimately vows that he will get out of here. He will escape and he will reunite with Gingka, and so he calls out to his Libra one last time for one final Inferno Blast.
So let's not give up! Try just one more time for me! Libra!
On to round 2 of Battle Bladers, Tsubasa has concocted a plan in which he will basically avoid a head-on confrontation with El Drago for as long as possible, saving up his energy. Meanwhile, Ryuga is not even focused on the battle. All he can think about is all the power he currently contains in his El Drago, and he uses it almost like a drug. Transfers the power from El Drago into his own body, showing how he's becoming corrupted over time.
Here we go, Ryuga! You're all alone? So what? What happened to your friend Phoenix? I'll take both of you at once if you want. Save it. I'm more than enough for you by myself. I'm gonna pay you back for last time. That's a real shame. Throwing your future away after someone worked so hard to save it.
So as you can see, Ryuga is still pretty mad about Tsubasa evading him the first time with the help of Phoenix, so he gives him a little bit of a taunt, trying to just throw him off of his game. But right away, they go into a head-on collision. He's trying his best to absorb his power, but like Tsubasa said, his goal in this match is not to fight El Drago head-on. He's trying to get out of there as fast as possible. So as soon as he can, he's going to get out of this headlock and he's going to just start circling the stadium.
That won't work. Not today!
So yeah, pretty ingenious move to at least try. If you're going to try to absorb my power, then I'm just going to try to outstall you. You are an attack type and I'm a stamina or balance type, so I can just easily keep dodging. And he keeps this up for as long as he possibly can. He's trying to keep his energy in his Beyblade as high as possible, just to continue to keep running. As much as the people in the stadium don't like it, he's going to keep going for it. And even Kyoya agrees that this is the best possible plan to take on El Drago. He knows that if you keep on attacking him, you know, you're just giving your power over to him. So the best way to deal with it is to let El Drago weaken enough to the point to where you can take it out.
I can't wait all day. You're not an eagle. You're a chicken. Try this on for size. Ha! Dark move! All right now, eagle. Dragon Emperor Soaring Bite Strike! Eagle Counter Stance!
And in this moment, we see Tsubasa do something that at this point in the series has never been done. Even Kyoya is stunned at this, though Doji doesn't seem too surprised. He manages to put El Drago's dark move to a stop. Having saved up all of his energy throughout the match, his eagle is still at full power, and he is able to continue to push back against El Drago.
Dragon Emperor soaring bite strike!
This is the watershed moment. For so long in this series, El Drago's dark move seemed like some sort of insurmountable feat. It was basically a finisher, an Oko move that would have resulted in an immediate defeat. But everyone's beginning to realize, oh, he's not unstoppable. He could, in theory, be defeated if you're able to out-strategic him, if you're able to outmaneuver him. And Tsubasa takes this moment, capitalizing on his gains. He saw El Drago wobble. He's going to try his best to take him out right now.
I'll decide it with one last move! Special move! Eagle Metal Wing Smash!
Finally, Tsubasa's special move bursts forth in spectacular fashion! Will this decide it once and for all? Yes, sir! You've got him! He put up much more of a fight than expected. Interesting.
The Dragon Emperor soaring bite strike won't be done in by that!
And in this moment, Ryuga sees his opening. He sees that El Drago is able to power through this move of Tsubasa, and he's got him right where he wants him. If he's attacking him, the dark power still can take effect, and this is where ultimately Tsubasa loses.
Fight against El Drago and I this long, it's really been very entertaining. But it's all over now! Dragon Emperor soaring bite strike! My eagle!
Tsubasa!
My eagle! I congratulate you for being able to make me use some of my real strength. As a reward, I'll take extra special care in stealing that power from you.
Now, by extra special care, I think this is Ryuga's way of kind of getting back at Tsubasa for trying to almost take them out. He's going to make this a long and grueling process. Unlike the ones for Hikaru and Kyoya, and even Doji, this is a long process of stealing that power, which is why I think ultimately Tsubasa became infected with the dark power, because he made this go on for so long. With one final attack to Earth Eagle, El Drago delivers the killing blow, not only to Eagle, but to Tsubasa as well, driving the stake through his heart and ultimately absorbing all of Tsubasa's power. Gingka rushes over to comfort Tsubasa, realizing that he too has been taken into a coma by Ryuga, who at this point is completely enveloped in darkness compared to the 50-50 we saw before, symbolizing that El Drago continues to drive Ryuga further and further into darkness.
It's all unfolding nicely. Before too long, our plans will be fully realized.
Here we see that Hyoma and Kenta are both being tortured by Reggie, all to, of course, fuel Jinga's anger towards Ryuga, who also in turn absorbed Hikaru and Tsubasa.
It's all gone even more swimmingly than I had hoped. Upon this stage called Battle Platers, Gingka and his friends will dance, struggle, and suffer. And in the end, give up all their hopes and dreams so that Ryuga can have the ultimate power. There are 2 battles left before the final. We must have everyone do their best for the world that Ryuga will create.
So ultimately, this moment here is supposed to symbolize Doji's last hurrah, his last big moment, thinking that he's at the top of the world, symbolized by the glass shattering and his exit of the box here, as later on we see that Ryuga has actually taken his place, symbolizing him now being at the head of the Dark Nebula over Doji. After the match, Ryuga notices an explosion in the Dark Nebula tower, and goes to investigate what might have happened, and he finds an injured and deranged Doji, who has been consumed by the dark power that Ryuga likely infected him with at some point. Out of fear and subservience to Ryuga, Doji tells him he will be bringing him another meal soon, while Ryuga, unfortunately, has already made up his mind about 10 minutes ago.
It's all good. I will bring you another fresh meal very soon, my champion.
That won't be necessary, Doji.
Huh? But Ryuga!
I don't need any more energy to build my strength. Are you trying to say that? I cannot win against Gingka without more power?
No, of course not. But I just thought it would be better to be doubly prepared just in case, you know.
All right, then just give me your energy.
Huh? Please don't joke like that. It's not very funny.
Who's joking, Doji? Or are you trying to say that you don't want to be useful to me anymore? Is that it?
Of course not. I want to help.
Do you not understand what's happening, Doji? You've already played your part in this battle.
That's the... Don't you know how hard I've worked? Everything I've done for you and the organization? After all that, I won't be allowed to see the world you reign over. But why?
Don't worry. I promise that I will bring you with me into my new world one way or another. As part of my Dark Bay, Lightning El Drago!
And has ultimately decided to betray Doji and absorb his soul into El Drago. Doji resists, but it's no use. When the dragon heads pull back, Doji's eyes sockets are completely hollow, as he is left as a shell of a man.
Just one more opponent left before the final. After I take the energy from Kyoya's Bay, it will be full enough to completely destroy Gingka.
Ryuga then returns to the stadium and eagerly awaits facing Kyoya, who after Doji's training and his own determination to defeat Gingka is very close to the same power level as Gingka himself. Kyoya taunts Ryuga, telling him that the only reason he has won every battle is because of the power he's gained from others, and that he should battle with his El Drago's own natural ability alone.
Did you really think you could defeat me with that borrowed power of yours? What's that? El Drago is a bay that steals the power of its defeated opponents to become stronger. There's no way I'll be brought down by the power stolen from others. If you have any pride at all as a blader, then try to defeat me using only yourself and your bay's natural power and skill. Can you do that, Ryuga? What's wrong? You're afraid to fight your own battles? Is that it? Do you need robbed power? Because you've got no confidence in yourself? Come on! Do you really think I'd fall for such an obvious taunt? Well, yeah. Okay then. I'll accept your challenge, but I'm afraid you'll regret it later, buddy. I wanted it this way.
Ryuga's power being called into question has the same effect on him as Marty McFly from Back to the Future being called chicken. He can't help but fall for it, despite knowing it's a trap, and this trope will pay off later in Metal Fury. Ryuga agrees to this, and Rock Leone stops using the power of tornadoes, and El Drago stops using the power that he has gained from other bladers. So the battle is a long, drawn-out match. As Gingka says, it's a bay-to-bay clash with no help. El Drago has brought the closest to defeat we have seen in the series, with even Madoka saying its spin speed has slowed down significantly.
Ha! You're no match for me! What? However, I can't remember anyone taking so many of my direct hits without completely collapsing. I give you credit for that. Same to you, I guess. I haven't met many battle bladers who can rise up to my level. Great, but it ends here.
Is there power drain? El Drago and Leon are both nearing the limit of their stamina. The next attack will probably decide it once and for all.
Kyoya has proven that he's learned from Gingka and Tsubasa's matches, and is thinking only of how he must defeat Ryuga in order to face Gingka again in the final match. In this moment, however, the spirit of El Drago turns against Ryuga for the first time. It has grown strong enough to overpower him.
The only way to heal our wounds, the only way to heal our wounds! We need Blader's power to heal our wounds!
Huh, okay, that's really nice. Go ahead and try, but I'll never let you steal from me my Blader spirit. Gingka, take a good look. This is my Blader spirit.
Kyoya! Kyoya!
Kyoya, buddy! Come on, Leon! Special move! King Lion Furious Blast Shot! Shatter him! Let's use everything that we've got left!
It's no use! Dark move! Dragon Emperor Soaring Destruction!
And he uses the power gained from others against Ryuga's wishes to summon a new dark move, Dragon Emperor Soaring Destruction, with Kyoya summoning his own new special move, King Lion Furious Blast Shot, clearly riffing off the top of his head, doing his best to outdo Ryuga. In the end, however, it's not enough, as the power residing within El Drago easily defeats Rock Leone, and El Drago feeds on Kyoya's energy. Gingka and his friends are among the only ones left in the stadium, as the intense battle has nearly destroyed the arena, with Ryuga's El Drago monster before them, revealing to Gingka that it was impressed with how much power he gained from Kyoya.
That was pretty amazing. The power grab that you helped me get from the unconscious guy.
I helped you?
Don't you get it? From the very beginning, Battle Bladers has been a tournament to make you build power, which I can then give to El Drago! Oh, and let's not forget your friends.
Eagle, count us down!
By setting their sights on Battle Bladers and competing with you, Gingka, they were able to grow in power too. Thanks to you, they became great fuel for El Drago.
What? What are you saying?
But in the end, that's just a drop in the bucket. I'm ready to get serious now. The one I want is Gingka. Your power was all I wanted from the beginning.
For the second time now, Gingka feels as though he has ironically been the one to empower Ryuga more than anyone, as he takes responsibility for his friends being absorbed by Ryuga or traumatized by Reggie. And it is only here where we get the intended effect of Battle Bladers on Gingka's psyche, because it is coming from his cruelest tormentor, Ryuga, who he thought had killed his father.
It seems that the one who helped Ryuga fully recover was you yourself. Once again, irony plays a hand in our game.
So what are we going to do? The Battle Bladers competition is allowed to go forward, you guys. Won't we just be going along with their plan?
This is my chance to defeat Ryuga!
Huh?
I'm signing up for Battle Bladers!
So the next time we meet, it'll be a Battle Bladers tournament.
Thanks to you, they became great fuel for El Drago.
If I hadn't gotten everyone involved, it wouldn't have turned out like this.
You know, Gingka, we're all glad that we were able to come this far with you. We would not have it any other way.
None of us have any regrets, my friend. Not even Hikaru, Tsubasa, or Kyoya. We just don't have any regrets.
Despite Gingka and his friends consoling him, and Kenta and Ioma telling him they have no regrets battling against the Dark Nebula, and assuring him that Hikaru, Tsubasa, and Kyoya feel the same way, Gingka still feels the guilt keeping him up that night before their final match, as he ultimately decides to face Ryuga in the early morning alone to ensure that none of his friends are hurt again, playing right into Ryuga's hands.
Thank you, Kenta, Madoka, you, Kiyoma. Everyone's support makes me feel so lucky. But that is exactly why I can't allow my precious friends to face any more danger than they already have. They will come with me in my heart.
While this is happening, Ryuga sits on his throne in Doji's office as the new head of the Dark Nebula, drunk on power from El Drago as it flows in and out of his body, over and over like a drug. Mayor C now calls him Master, and tells him that the final preparations for his battle are complete, and he must go out to meet Gingka. When Ryuga and Gingka finally meet again, there is no malice or anger between them. Ginga knows he must remain calm and not give in to El Drago's desire for anger, while Ryuga simply wants to relish the moment before his ultimate victory, as the final stage rises high above the city, showing Ryuga and Doji's final trump card against Ginga, having a fight where no one can cheer Ginga on or give him any aid from their Blader spirits. In the final match, Ginga and Ryuga battle fiercely, with Ginga using his new strong special moves to try to win with a quick knockout, but this is ultimately fruitless.
Pegasus Star Blast attack!
That kind of attack won't affect me.
What? Special move! Pegasus Stormbringer!
Not good enough!
Now what?
As Ryuga pins Pegasus down within the cracks of the stadium. If there was no plot armor, Ginga would have lost and the world, or at least Japan, would likely be destroyed, as the friction alone would have stopped Pegasus from spinning, in addition to El Drago absorbing Pegasus's power. But as the sun begins to rise, Ginga is given a power boost from the bonds of all his friends and the Bladers across the city, cheering for him atop the Dark Nebula Tower. Ryuga is annoyed by this, as the entire point of the Sky High Stadium battle was supposed to prevent Pegasus from receiving a power boost from his friends. Once again, irony is at play, as if they had simply done the battle in a simple stadium at night, nobody would have known. Instead, everyone in the city was awoken by a tower sprouting up from the Battle Blader Stadium, and everyone knew to run to the unguarded Dark Nebula headquarters and get on the helicopter platform to cheer Ginga on. In his renewed spirit, Ryuga has to act fast before he manages to lose to Pegasus, so he summons his dark move, Dragon Emperor Soaring Bite Strike, to deal with Pegasus and Ginga. But because of the bonds and the power that Ginga has at his disposal, and because of Ryuga's battles with Tsubasa and Kyoya, Ginga knows that Ryuga's dark move can be defeated, as long as he has the power of his friends at his side. Their Blader spirit are what's keeping Ginga in this battle in this moment. Moment of Jinga's triumph over Ryuga, however, things begin to take a turn for our friend, as we see that the El Drago begins to consume him and take him over. We saw this earlier in the battle versus Kyoya, and now once again, as soon as El Drago realizes it has a potential to actually lose and not absorb someone's power, it takes control of the steering wheel, especially now that it has absorbed Kyoya's power. In addition to all the other battlers from the Dark Nebula, Tsubasa, Hikaru, it's grown strong enough now where it can override Ryuga's control and begin to take control of the host body, possessing this demonic dragon form that we see here.
Stop it!
Ryuga! What in the world is happening?
The thing that I was afraid of has begun after all. Until now, no one had been able to control El Drago. It is said that those who tried were all taken in by the dark aura and destroyed through the matches at Battle Bladers. Its power expanded greatly and has now begun to run wild. Not even Ryuga can control it any longer, my friends. And so the rampaging El Drago is trying to absorb Ryuga himself.
As you can see, irony once again continues to play a role in the theme of Metal Fusion, as Ryuga attempted to absorb the power of the Bladers around him, but in the end, El Drago also began to absorb not only Doji, but Ryuga himself. Ryo also takes this moment to further explain the themes between light and darkness, and we also get hints at Metal Fury with the Nemesis project.
One is darkness. One is light. In the end, the path taken depends on the choices of humans. Even El Drago's creation was a result of the humans who became amazed by the star fragment's great power.
Human hearts are what allowed El Drago's dark power to grow this much.
Some powerful people of the past were just like Doji. Be careful, Ginga. The thing Eldrago desires is darkness. It won't stop this rampage until it leads the world to destruction, and everything falls into darkness.
That's right! That is my desire!
At this point, I think I can say with about 95% certainty that Ryuga is being controlled not just by Eldrago and the Dark Power, but by the Dark Power that exists within the Black Sun Nemesis. And it is this same power that Rago will use to try to destroy the world in Metal Fury.
Turn everything to darkness! Destruction! 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 More! Rampage! Sacrifice everything to me! I will tear this world apart and completely cover it with the darkness of destruction!
Stop it, Ryuga! What will happen if you do something like that? So is this really the reason you've been Beyblading?
All I want is a world covered in darkness.
Open your eyes, Ryuga!
No one can stop me now!
No matter what you say, it's no good, Gingka. The one standing there is no longer Ryuga.
Yes, at this point, Ryuga is the embodiment of the Black Sun, just constantly wishing for darkness and for darkness to cover the world. I mean, if this isn't the embodiment of the Black Sun, if this isn't enough evidence to show you that this is the same power that is shown in Metal Fury, I don't know what's gonna convince you. But let's see what happens now.
But in order for you to win against the Dark Power, there is still one thing missing. Can you realize what it is, Gingka?
It's no good. It's like I can't even compete.
Dark move! Dragon Emperor! Soaring destruction! What's this?
Hikaru! Tsubasa! Kyoya!
Stand up, Gingka. The real fight starts now.
However, if you fight force with force, you cannot win against him.
There's an answer. One that only we possess.
Ah!
This spirit, you take care of it for me. Don't hold back. Throw everything we've got at that monster.
Protect our future!
We're counting on you, Gingka.
For almost the entirety of his battle versus Ryuga, Ginka's father, Ryo, was hinting that there was something missing from his plan, and up until this point we've still been wondering what the heck it is. Now, throughout the entire series, Blader's Spirit has been the thing that has decided the battle in the end, and it's the name of this episode. So you would think that, oh, he just has to use the Blader Spirit of all his friends in order to defeat Ryuga. And here we have the Blader Spirits of his friends that were taken down by Ryuga here to bring him up in battle. So you would think that that would be the missing piece in his plan, the Blader Spirits of all of his friends coming together to defeat Eldrago. But let's see what Jing is able to put together here.
If I fight force with force, I cannot win. They saved me in order to give me that message? Save? That's it! Please lend me your strength one more time, everyone! We are gonna use our power to save Ryuga!
Save Ryuga?
Huh? What are you talking about?
I'm not gonna abandon abandon a fellow blader. That's exactly what the Dark Bay has been doing, don't you see?
Now I understand that by this point, the idea of the series protagonist trying to redeem the antagonist has become pretty overdone and cliche. And if you've seen Star Wars, then you saw this coming a mile away with all the concepts of light and darkness. But just put yourself in Ginga's shoes. Ginga had thought previously that Ryuga had killed his father. He has now absorbed the souls of his friends and plans on destroying the world. But even through that, Ginga wants to redeem him because he knows that he is a true blader, and he is not going to leave him behind. Because if he does, that opens the door for this vicious cycle of people using the dark power for evil to continue.
Only thinking about defeating El Drago, but there's more to it. Even Ryuga is a blader like us, and if we aren't able to save him, then it won't really be a victory against the dark power, because we can't win by losing one of our own.
Yeah, Ginga is showing us what it means to win!
Awesome!
So, now he understands what the one thing missing was in his plan.
Our best weapon against evil is a heart that loves Beyblade. The blader's spirit rules. I've got to put all that spirit into Pegasus in order to win. I'm counting on everyone. I'm counting on you, Pegasus!
Save me, you say? Enough babbling about things to come. There's no future for worms, and that's all you are!
We see that Nemesis, the Black Sun, has been pushed back against the wall once again, so it decides to use the power of its own anger and aggression to fuel El Drago further. We get a subtle Star Wars nod with Madoka calculating the odds being 0.03%, but just like Han Solo to C-3PO, you never tell them the odds.
I don't care what the odds are here. Go, Ginga! Percentage schmentage! We all believe in you, Ginga! Ginga!
Ginga!
Go, Ginga! Make some history! Ginga! 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 Ginga!
All right, here we go, everyone! Here comes my Pegasus! And everyone's full power!
Who cares?
I actually think that in that moment, the calculations Madoka made on her computer were correct. However, it failed to account for the variables of Ginga being able to possess the power of every blader in at least the country, and if not the world. And with that power of all the blader spirits combined, it would easily be able to take on El Drago. And as you can see here, Ginga unveils his ultimate special move.
Go, go! Special move, Galaxy Nova!
Calling dark move! Dragon Emperor join discussion!
The thing that decides who wins a battle isn't the Bay's strength. It's the blader's spirit! Ryuga, take back your blader's spirit! Take it now!
This single frame of El Drago cracking and no longer spinning, we see that Ginga has ultimately broken the wheel of the dark power being used for evil, at least in the short term. So now, all the spirits that were consumed by El Drago return to their rightful owners, and we see that Kyoya, Tsubasa, and Hikaru all wake up from their comas. Because so much power was used in this moment, it's able to finally destroy the stadium, which had probably been crumbling this entire time. And now, Ginga and Ryuga would have presumably fallen to their deaths, if not having been saved by Pegasus, who's somehow able to manifest itself. Again, this is an anime, you can't take all this stuff literally, but Ginga does manage to catch Ryuga and save him. And in this moment, Ryuga finally wakes up and sees that Ginga is saving him, that he can't even comprehend it. I mean, imagine, you think that you've been trying to beat this guy and you wouldn't have thought that he'd be saving you, but he is.
And the winner of the Battle Bladers final match is... The winner is Ginga!
In the end, it was you. You saved us. Thank you, Pegasus. Whoa. Huh?
Another cruel, ironic twist of fate. Gingka, who triumphed over evil, loses his Beyblade, while Ryuga still manages to keep his and walks away into the sunset.
I'm afraid so. In the final battle with El Drago, Pegasus fought so hard that it must have used up all of the power that it possessed. In order to win against the Dark Force, Pegasus had the use of everyone's power, but it kept fighting past its limits. Just don't worry about it right now, Gingka. Once it has rested its wings somewhere, there's a good chance that it will regain its strength and return.
Now this might just be wishful thinking on my part, but I would like to think that in Metal Fury, when the next star fragment falls from the sky, a little piece of Pegasus is inside it, and it is what helps create Big Bang or Cosmic Pegasus. And with that, I will conclude this documentary at this point about the life of not just Ryuga, but all of the different characters that he interacts with in Metal Fusion, and at least all the important ones. But the story doesn't end here, folks, because next time we're going to be taking a deeper look into Metal Masters and the arrangement, and to see how that might intertwine with Ryuga's story. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you guys all for the support that you've shown these two Beyblade videos, and now hopefully with this third one, I hope to make more of them in a less amount of time. But you gotta understand, this has taken me months to come up with all the ideas and form them into a coherent script, edit all the videos together with music and everything. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and if you guys want to see more content like this, be sure to show support for this video as well, and hopefully I can get it in a much more timely manner. But we'll see with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Breath of the Wild 2 how I do with that over the next few months. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the next video on the Beyblade Metal series. Bye-bye.